Coming to you live from historic Crocker Field in downtown Fitchburg, Massachusetts, FATV presents its coverage of girls spring flag football. We are just about ready for the third game in tonight's triple header, this one between the Red Raiders of Fitchburg High School taking on the Panthers of Ayer-Shirley. I'm John Gugerty, joined as always by Dan Bolak. Dan, this is the third game in our tri-match. Both teams already with wins under their belts. We'll see which one can go 2-0.
Fitchburg with a 41-6 win over Fitchburg Gray. Ayer-Shirley just dispatched Fitchburg Gray by a 45-6 score. Some of those score lines may be unofficial based on scoring and when it stopped and all that stuff, but doesn't really matter. Both teams came away with the victory and now hungry to see who's going to win the tri-match today.
Ayer-Shirley will begin with possession, first and 20 for them at their 30. Back to pass is Malia Figueroa. Her pass to the near side is incomplete, very nearly picked off by Leilani Ingracia. That would have been a tremendous way to start for the Red Raiders. As it is, they'll take the incomplete pass. It's now second and 20.
Malia Figueroa looked very solid at quarterback in the first game. Unofficially 12 of 16 through the air.
Play action fake on second down. Pass to the near side is complete. Tackled almost immediately, however, by Jean-Marie Rodriguez. That's Bella LeBlanc with the catch for the Panthers.
LeBlanc made the catch, was ready to bolt up field, thought she was going to have a lot of yardage, but her flag fell extremely quickly. She couldn't believe how quickly it fell. It's only a 3-yard completion.
Now third down and 17. Panthers need something here if they're going to consider going for it at all. Raiders show one rusher. Handoff goes to the far side. Along the left, good job by Reese Hafner getting some yardage. But again, great defense by Fitchburg. Leilani Ingracia gets in, pulls her flag just across the 40-yard line, and the Panthers will punt it away.
Try to go to the run game that time, and Hafner has shown a lot of speed, showed that off in the first game. But that time the Raiders were able to close in quickly, stop her progress, and a 3-and-out forced.
Fitchburg Red takes over, first and 20 for them at their own 30. Teams with 4 downs to get to midfield and then 3 to score from there, with the goal lines positioned at the 25, basically. Quick pass on first down is complete to Jean-Marie Rodriguez out of the hands of Bia Pena.
Jean-Marie Rodriguez has been one of those very consistent and solid receivers for the Red Raiders. She's a senior. She's been part of this program, I think, all 3 years thus far. She's one of those solid receivers for the Red and Gray.
Second down pass is a little bit low and incomplete. You can see the design there, Dan. They spread the receivers out wide and then just try to hit Rodriguez coming out to the flat from that center position. But that time, Pena's pass a little bit low. Hit Rodriguez in the leg. Nothing she could do about that. And now it's third down. Pena rolls right, throws back across her body. Pass goes through 2 different sets of hands and falls incomplete. It was intended for Alanette Diaz. She couldn't get it, and then Alexa Jenkins had a chance to make the pick. She was unable to do so. Dan, both of these teams very explosive, high scoring in their first games tonight, but they each go 3 and out here in the third game.
That's the thing with so many yards to gain, too. You can have a few good plays and still end up having to punt it away. It's just trying to find that consistency to get yourself downfield quickly.
First down pass is intercepted. Picked off for the Raiders. Naomi Lau-Torres made the catch at about the 35-yard line. She returns it to the 31. It's a huge swing there. Neither offense able to do anything, but it's the defense for Fitchburg. You remember, Dan, on the first play on Ayer-Shirley's first drive, it was very nearly an interception by Ingracia. This time, Naomi Lau-Torres is able to jump the route and make the pick.
Indeed, and one of just 2 8th graders on this roster for Fitchburg Red. Naomi Lau-Torres able to read that well, rip that ball out of the hands, get the interception just like that. It's a touchdown.
Leilani Ingracia with the catch and the score. Fitchburg Red strikes first. Less than 4 minutes gone in this first half. They lead 6-0 and will look to make it 7. Spread the field. Pena takes the shotgun snap, looks, throws, passes incomplete. Was intended for Maeve Palmer. As the lights go on at Crocker Field, we're getting a little bit later in the day. It is 7:30. It's unusual to be here at Crocker Field at 7:30 and have it still be this bright, but spring football, it's fun.
It's a little different there.
Ayer-Shirley takes back over, 1st and 20 at their own 30. Figueroa looking left, pass was incomplete. I believe it was intended for Abby Miller. Good defense there by Serena Vu, 21 on 21. It'll be 2nd down and 20 now for the Panthers.
A few times Figueroa was able to hit that home run pass to really drive up the score in that first game. I think she was trying to look for something like that, try to shoot it over all the defense for the Raiders.
Hand off to the near side on 2nd down, ducking out of one tackle, but unable to avoid the second. Tackle made by Leilani Ingracia, and that was Reese Hefner with the carry for the Panthers. Gained about 7, so it brings up a manageable 3rd and 13 or so. Yeah, we'll call it 3rd and 13 now for the Panthers, as they look for their first down of the contest. Figueroa to throw. Pass to the near side is complete, but again, well defended by Fitchburg. Jaylene Melendez that time snatches the flag almost immediately. Aaliyah B. Holden brought it in. She was unable to do anything after the catch. And again, the Panthers choose to give it away.
I think I had Hafner on that one, but nevertheless, it was sort of a short throw over the middle. They were trying to hope that Hafner's athleticism was going to be able to help her break away there, but just well read by Melendez to get that tackle there and shut it down immediately.
Pass to Ingracia is complete, as Fitchburg gets a handful of yards on 1st down. And Dan, I think really the offensive game plan for both of these teams is very similar. They're looking to hit quick 5-6 yard passes, get their more athletic players out in the open field with the ball, hope to make a woman miss, and get gone for big yardage. Now on 2nd down, it's a handoff to Ingracia, and she's going to be taken down in the backfield. Flag pulled almost immediately. It was Abby Miller making the tackle for Ayer-Shirley.
They've tried running that play a few times, giving the ball to Ingracia and letting her fly, but that time Miller was able to make a nice run up there and really shut it down. And we have what is actually the first penalty flag all night.
That is a huge one as well. That'll back Fitchburg up another 5 yards. It's the old false start, everyone but the center.
Yep, and make matters worse, that loses 3rd down, turns into 4th down quickly, and really everybody jumps, and just like that, the drive comes to an unceremonious end.
I know we're working on things, and we were speaking with Todd Robbins earlier, and we equated it to the Wild Wild West a little bit. False start should not be a loss of down. Come on.
Well, as it turns out in flag football, every offensive penalty is a loss of down. Every defensive penalty is an automatic 1st down.
I know that is the rule. I disagree with the rule. Play action fake, Figueroa throws, open jump ball, and it falls incomplete. Handful of offensive players and defenders in there.
Jenkins was the intended receiver there for the Panthers, but 2 different Raiders had good positioning on that one to shut it down. I think Jenkins was the tallest of the 3, but the athleticism from the Raiders defense breaking that up.
Had been a warm and pretty humid early evening. Dan, I believe, as I look out at the lights, is there a light rain beginning to fall?
Yeah, there I think is a little bit of precipitation that was a potential in the forecast today.
Might make the passing game that much more difficult. Now 2nd down. Panthers will spread the field. Figueroa back to pass. Over the middle and incomplete. She was trying to hit Bella LeBlanc. Pass maybe a little bit too tall or too far out in front. I think LeBlanc stumbled a bit as she was trying to extend and make the catch. And I believe Ayer-Shirley has taken their time out here.
Or at the very least, they're huddling at this point. We're at the halfway point of the first half of play, 6-0. John Lemieux, head coach of the Panthers. I hear from the near sideline, Anthony Aquendo yelling, "Is that your timeout?"
I mean, at this point, it better be. There is such a thing as a play clock, right?
There would be, and now I think they've said, yeah, if there's a play clock, you guys are going to run out on it.
Yeah.
And delay of game would be a loss of down, so...
yeah, do you want to give them the ball back now, or do you want to throw it away?
So it's like either give up the ball or give up your timeout. The choice is yours and yours alone. And Coach Lemieux will trade off the timeout here.
It's reasonable. I'd rather give up my pendant than be grabbed by a temple guard. But yeah, as we look out, I'm looking, Dan, at the light stanchion that's just behind the left side 20-yard line. If you look at the lower lights of that, you can see it's not a heavy in the sense of like big heavy drops, but there's a significant precipitation going on down there.
It's funny, through my binoculars, I was able to see the precipitation in the light stand to our right. And yeah, you can definitely see there's definitely a little bit of rain falling.
Figueroa will go deep on third down. Her pass is incomplete. Just a little bit too tall for the intended receiver, Alexa Jenkins. Ayer-Shirley will toss it away. Fitchburg Red takes over, leading this game 6-0. Chance for them to extend their lead as we're now past the halfway point of this first half.
Talked about how a beautiful night it is, and the sky still looks quite beautiful. Lots of blue in the sky, but apparently there's still there's some water falling out of it too.
First down pass is incomplete, just behind Jean-Marie Rodriguez. Pena unable to hit her receiver in stride. It'll be second down and 20 now for the Red Raiders.
I've seen a lot of negative plays since we first noticed that it's raining. I feel like that's not a coincidence.
Yeah, probably not. Pena takes the shotgun snap, under pressure, throws over the middle, pass is high and incomplete. Closest Fitchburger to it was Maeve Palmer. She was unable to bring it in. It'll now be 3rd and 20 for Fitchburg.
The 6-0 lead for the Raiders. The Raiders 4-3 coming today. From what I know, Ayer-Shirley is 4-1. It'd be a big win for the Red Raiders if they can come away with a dub in this.
Pena on third down. Her pass is intercepted, picked off by Reese Hafner. She gets back to about the 44-yard line before she's brought down. Collision there with Alanette Diaz. And Diaz will be helped to the near sideline. So we saw Fitchburg, Dan, score off of an interception for their only points of this game. Now this is the first time Ayer-Shirley has had it in Red Raider territory. First and goal, ball spotted at the 36. They need to get to the 25 for a touchdown. Go for it all and get it all. Touchdown Panthers.
Alexa Jenkins was able to make that catch there, find herself open right in front of the ends, really right behind the goal line, in front of a defender. As I get all my words crossed up, but nevertheless, Jenkins makes the catch, her first of this contest, and it's worth 6 points.
Ties the game at 6. Now Ayer-Shirley will go for 1 to take the lead. 2 receivers to the near side. High snap. Figueroa has a lot of trouble with it. Has to get rid of it. This is intercepted. Jean-Marie Rodriguez with the pick. She goes to the turf as she has her flag pulled. So we are tied at 6. Just under 6 minutes to play here in the first half. Both defenses, Dan, setting up their offenses. Interceptions leading to both of the touchdowns thus far.
And if Rodriguez had been able to return that to the other end zone, it would have been 2 points. Defensive deuces are allowed in girls flag football. As you may know, they're not allowed in NFHS tackle football.
Pena comes up under center. Quick pass is complete to Jean-Marie Rodriguez. Gets out across the 40-yard line before she's brought down. Bit of trickery there by Fitchburg, Dan. They looked like they were going to go from the shotgun. Then Pena hurried up, took the snap under center, and then pretty much immediately tossed it to Jean-Marie Rodriguez. It's a good gain on first down. Go for it again on second down. Why not? Jean-Marie Rodriguez with the catch again. Tackle made at the 45-yard line. Now 3rd down and 5. You got to think Ayer-Shirley has to be aware Fitchburg is willing to go to that quick dump off to the center. 3rd and 5. Pena looking, pumping, now going deep. A little bit underthrown. Pass is incomplete. Anthony Oquendo throws his hands to the heavens. He wants a flag. He won't get it. Now he has a decision.
I think there might have been a small collision there between Maeve Palmer and one of the Panthers on defense. I think that would have been the call for interference possibly, but I think it was just incidental enough. I can see why they didn't throw the flag there.
Yeah, there was definitely contact, but I don't think it rose to the level of actually breaking up the pass. So they rule no foul. Now 4th and 5. Fitchburg is going for it here. Pena's pass is caught, getting across the first down line, but then coming back the other way is Leilani Ingracia. That should be a turnover on downs. Oquendo wants a first down. Now there's barking from the Fitchburg sideline and a flag. I believe, Dan, that the officials on the field ruled that Ingracia made the catch and then voluntarily came back across the 50 into Fitchburg territory and was subsequently tackled. They correctly ruled that that is not a first down because you have to get past the 50. And then, when Fitchburg complained about it, they did so in such a vociferous manner that they tacked on 15 yards.
That's exactly right.
And I think the officials are completely right. Ingracia made the catch in Ayer-Shirley's territory, then came back behind the 50. That is not a first down.
There's momentum, but in that case, Ingracia tried to get extra yardage by trying to go backwards to go forwards. And immediately Ayer-Shirley makes them pay with a touchdown. From Hafner, yes.
Reese Hafner took the handoff and got into the end zone, just barely eluding the tackle of 2 Fitchburg defenders. So they make the defensive stop with the aid of a mental mistake by Fitchburg. That is then compounded by the coaches on the sidelines. I don't think it was players, Dan. I think it was the coaches screaming at the refs that got that 15 yards tacked on. Now Ayer-Shirley's taking the lead as they go for one more. Pass in the corner of the end zone is broken up and incomplete. Well defended there by Naomi Lau-Torres. So 12-6 Ayer-Shirley as we approach the end of the first half.
I think we summed it up basically as it needed to be summed up. I have no disagreements there. That's exactly what ended up happening.
Fitchburg now needs to regroup in a hurry. Still a chance for them. They will get the ball to begin the second half, but they'd like to tie it up here. Pass to the near side on first down is incomplete, dropped by Jean-Marie Rodriguez. Time continues to tick by. Remember, it's a running clock here in flag football. Clock on your screen is unofficial, but, roughly, vaguely ballpark accurate. 2nd down and 20 for the Raiders. Pena, throw to the near side is incomplete, in and out of the hands of Maeve Palmer. You see her, throw her head back and as if to say, I should have had that. And, to be perfectly honest with you, Ms. Palmer, you probably should have had that. But now 3rd and 20 for Fitchburg. Still 2 chances for them to get this if they want it. Pena's throw over the middle is incomplete. Batted down by Reese Hafner.
The other one.
Really? That was Jenkins?
Yep.
Dang it. Again, we're blaming the pennies and the font and the rain. We can blame the rain now. I couldn't blame it on the rain earlier. I could get all Milli Vanilli up in here. It's wonderful.
It's definitely more obviously falling now than it was about 5 minutes ago.
Yeah. Fitchburg will toss it away. Ayer-Shirley ostensibly takes over, but that's also the end of the first half. 18 minutes gone, 18 to play. Ayer-Shirley leads Fitchburg Red by a score of 12-6 in what has been a very defensive contest, Dan.
Really, yeah, just been the defenses coming up big. I mean, all 3 of the touchdowns that we've seen in this contest came with a team getting the ball in offensive territory to start their respective drives. We've not seen a team go from the 5 all the way down in this particular contest.
Fitchburg Red got their touchdown off of an interception. Ayer-Shirley answered with a score off of an interception, and then it was a turnover on downs compounded by a penalty against the Fitchburg coaching staff that gave the Panthers the ball in great field position, only took them 1 play to capitalize. Now as the teams regroup on the sidelines, Ayer-Shirley finds themselves in the lead. Fitchburg again will get the ball to begin the second half, and Dan, I have a very important task for you. Please entertain the people while I find the light switch. Thank you.
I will do that. And one of the other interesting things, too, as I look down my stat log, is the fact that on all 3 drives, that touchdown scored on the very first play from scrimmage. So just compounding those issues. The light switch isn't over there, John. It's in the other room. It's next to the door. I know I didn't turn off my mic to give that stage instruction, but Googs nevertheless has found the light switches, so let there be light here in the press box high above Crocker Field, one of the best places to watch a high school football game, at one of the best venues to watch a high school football game here in the state of Massachusetts.
Honestly, Dan, you and I have been lucky enough to call football from a great many places and a great many vantage points. I cannot think of a better one. Like, putting aside the history of the venue, because Crocker Field, aside from Fenway Park, other than Fenway Park, Crocker Field wins the history of the venue battle very easily. But just like the space, the size of the box, the angle to the field, you can't beat it.
I mean, I've been crammed into a number of press boxes like sardines, but you're never going to be desperate for space here in Fitchburg. You have all the room in the world.
Here at Crocker Field in Fitchburg.
Yes. First down, Shamari Rodriguez makes the catch, is able to evade a flagpole, evade a second one. I think she only is stopped by dancing out of bounds. Her flag falls at the same time, nevertheless. Her 4th catch of the contest gets big yardage on first down.
I was going to say not to throw shade at any other particular field in Fitchburg, but actually thinking about it, every other field in Fitchburg that we've called games at, very tiny press boxes. Oh boy.
Yeah, you get stuffed in there really no matter where else you go. That's why when we go to Monty Tech, we're outside. Shamari Rodriguez makes the catch as she tries to get to the near side, evading a tackle, gets the first down.
Dan, on this last pass, Angie Tracy had a clear line to the quarterback and just pulled up and stopped. She was barreling in on Bia Pena and then just backed away. I don't know why.
Might have been trying to go for the pass defense there on that one. She felt she couldn't get the sack, but that didn't work out. This appears to be, I think, the first properly earned first down in this whole contest, as Rodriguez is not able to make the catch there.
See Shamari Rodriguez shaking her right hand as she comes away from that one. Might have taken it maybe on the thumb joint right there. That the inside of that knuckle can be pretty painful if you hit it with the nose of a football.
Bia Pena 8 for 17 through the air in this contest. Her counterpart, Malia Figueroa, is, from my count, 3 for 9.
Not great.
The rain has had a bit of an effect. I think it's lessened off a little bit. I'm not seeing much precipitation at the moment.
Yeah, it looks to be faint but still present, but it's definitely let up in the last 5-10 minutes.
2nd and 21. A throw over the middle out of the reach of Palmer. That was a tough snap there as it sort of floated short of Pena, so she had to take a step in to gather it. That probably threw off the timing a little bit.
We did see Fitchburg Red have trouble with the snaps in their first game tonight. Those issues manifesting themselves once again.
3rd and 21. The Raiders must find the end zone on this play. They have a chance to, as buying all that time, getting the throw downfield and making the catch. Leilani Gracia, touchdown Red Raiders. I thought for sure Pena was dead to rights with the rush there, but she's able to make just enough evasive moves to keep her flags.
Great work by Bia Pena, dancing away from pressure, avoiding the grasp of Tracy, stepping up and delivering a strike to the end zone for the touchdown.
Conversion attempt no good there.
We are still tied at 12. And with 15 minutes or so to play in this contest, Dan, I have to ask, for the fans at home who may not know, and certainly not your color commentator, how do we do overtime?
Overtime will be interesting. I haven't seen overtime happen in girls flag football. I think they will play overtime. But it involves some interesting things. We'll get to that in a moment as first down catch is made by Reese Hafner. It's Hafner's second catch of this contest.
Gains about 7. It'll be second down and call it a long 12 for the Panthers.
I believe the first overtime is a single conversion attempt. Teams can choose if they want to go for 1 or 2. Deep ball right side, tied up and incomplete. And some applause there from the Raider faithful. That was, I believe, Naomi Lau-Torres with the coverage there to break up any potential plays on Alexa Jenkins.
That was indeed Naomi Lau-Torres. She was stride for stride with Jenkins, had the inside position, got to the point where Torres had the better chance at the ball, but Jenkins was the one knocking it away from her.
3rd and 11 in this 12-12 contest for Ayer-Shirley, about 4 minutes in. Yeah, first overtime would be a 1 or 2 point conversion. Most points wins. Second overtime would be a single 2-point conversion attempt. Most points wins. If not, third overtime, longest play from scrimmage wins. Interesting. They'd start from the 5-yard line as that's incomplete. I believe that's how it works if I'm reading the girls flag football rule book correctly.
Well, still plenty of time to get there. Ayer-Shirley punting it away after an unsuccessful third down play. If you're Anthony Aquendo in the Fitchburg side, you would rather not see overtime. Just go get some points here, girls. That'll be fine. Do that.
You know, Fitchburg 2 was extremely close to seeing overtime against Veritas 2. The game was tied 6-6 late. There was 15 seconds left in the contest. And Veritas Prep had the ball first down from their own 5-yard line, tried a triple handoff play, and on the third handoff, they dropped the ball. It landed on the goal line.
Ooh, that's bad.
Safety was given and the game ended right there. It was a very unusual way to end a contest. Shamari Rodriguez makes the catch.
As a light rain continues to fall, ball security very important as we get deeper and deeper into this one.
Pena wants to go deep, wants to go for it all. Nearly had it, but Ingracia just not quite able to get that ball gathered in.
Gracia kind of put her hands up and tried to make that catch over her head rather than letting it drop into the bucket. There was a defender on her. She felt she had to go up and get that ball out of the air. She wasn't able to bring it down.
Nani with plenty of time, trying to use all 7 seconds, nobody rushing. Gets a deep ball downfield, and it falls between 2 Raiders.
Shamari Rodriguez and Jaylene Melendez battling for it.
2 go for it, neither come up with it. And the Raiders have to give it back to the Panthers. Ayer-Shirley will have it from their own 5-yard line. For my recollection, too, this is also a co-op between Ayer-Shirley and Lunenburg. Sort of like what we see in ice hockey.
I was going to say, we could have just been calling them LAS this whole time.
Could have been. But Ayer-Shirley is the host in this particular one.
They're the Lasses on LAS. It was right there. I feel cheated. I feel wrong.
Throw to the left side is complete, and there's great running there. Stepping out of bounds. Actually, before that, I think they might be giving the sack.
Figueroa is beside herself. Serena Vu had her flag in hand. Figueroa is pleading that she got rid of the ball before the pass was thrown. Another flag comes out. This one's going to be against Ayer-Shirley. Both teams penalized for their complaints to the officiating staff. Dan, I honestly didn't see if the flag came out before Figueroa got rid of the ball. Looking at it live, I thought the pass was off, but the officials down at the field have the better view. Figueroa incensed by the ruling. That would have been a touchdown.
I was wondering first when I heard the whistle if maybe Jenkins had stepped out, or whether it was her Hefner, one of them. Again, it's easy to get them crossed up. One of them stepped out of bounds on that run, because I think she came pretty close to the sideline and all of that. However, you hear the whistles, and then they gave the sack there to Vu. I didn't see it either. I know it was bang bang. You folks at home would have had the best view at all from our cameraman Travis Falk, who does such a tremendous job. And now, only 2 yards between them. The end zone intercepted! Jean-Marie Rodriguez will come away with the football. In my head, I was thinking, I wasn't sure if it was second or third down because of the penalty, but every time that I'm thinking, what down is it? It doesn't matter because an interception wipes it out the very next play.
We've seen interceptions play a huge part in this game. Figueroa maybe still frustrated from that previous play, trying to force the pass into coverage. It's picked off, and now Fitchburg has a golden opportunity to take the lead. Pass is incomplete on first down.
Wanted Jaylene Melendez there in the right corner. The Raiders still have 2 more shots from very close range.
Fitchburg Reds scored their first touchdown after a pick.
Come on, let's get this one right there.
Halfway through the second half, they can take the lead here with another one.
Pena rolling right, trying to loft it in off the hands of Melendez again. And another incompletion.
Really haven't gone in Melendez's direction for much of this game so far. They've gone to her twice in the end zone here, unable to make the catch. And now Fitchburg will take their timeout as they get ready for a critical third down play.
Points have been so hard to come by in this contest. And we've seen how the defensive errors, or like the errors, can make a team pay. I guess offensive errors, because interceptions and other things. It's really been, the offense making mistakes that have led to prime opportunities for the other team. And now, 2 shots already from 8 yards out, didn't score on either of them. Now 1 more chance. And you're going to feel like you let Ayer-Shirley off the hook if they're able to come away with a stop on this. Of the 10 receptions in this contest for the Raiders, Jean-Marie Rodriguez has 6, Leilani Gracia has 4. They've been throwing to Melendez the last 2 times. She hasn't had a catch in this contest, but it would be quite sweet if on the first 2 that she's not able to get it if she gets it here. But we'll see where they go. Pena will throw in there, battle around, incomplete in all of that. Maeve Palmer was there, Leilani Gracia was there, but Aaliyah Beholden for the Panthers was the one who ultimately broke it all up.
Bunch formation and almost a bunch of routes run by Fitchburg. 2 receivers in the same place. Confusion as to who the ball was intended for. Aaliyah Beholden, as you said, Dan, was the closest defender to it. And now Ayer-Shirley takes over. 10 minutes and change gone in the second half. Rain continues to fall. Not quite as hard as it had been earlier, but it is coming down.
Heavy bunch formation here for Ayer-Shirley, lining up 3 to the left of the center. Figueroa on first down, lofts it up. Catch is made by Hefner. She puts on the Jets. Hefner coming across the middle of the field. She's breaking away. She won't be caught. Touchdown, Ayer-Shirley. There's the touchdown that Reese Hefner felt she deserved on that last drive. And now Ayer-Shirley well and truly has the lead.
We saw the Panthers in their first game tonight score a great many touchdowns on plays just like that. You don't need to throw the ball deep when you have athletes like Reese Hefner who can get the ball in the open field and just turn on the Jets. If Reese Hefner isn't the fastest woman on the field, it's because Alexa Jenkins is faster, and they play for the same team. So if you get the ball in one of those playmakers' hands, it is gonna go well for the Panthers.
That's how challenging it can be to stop these 2 strong all-league players from last year. 1-point conversion. One in the backfield to the right of Figueroa. They'll play action, loft it up over the middle. catch is made, and the conversion comes just short. Abby Miller made the catch, dove for the goal line, but her flag fell first.
Jaylene Melendez there, making the stop, denying Miller the point after. Neither team has converted after scoring a touchdown. 18-12 now with Ayer-Shirley's favor. 5 minutes and change left in this one.
Raiders try to make their way downfield. First down off the fingertips of Gracia and incomplete.
You can see the frustration on the Raider faces, and Gracia knows she should have brought that one in. Fitchburg, much like Ayer-Shirley, trying to get their offense with short completions and then yardage after the catch.
When you have that first down pass fall incomplete, then you're just falling behind the 8 ball. Gets a little more challenging. Catch is made this time. It's Rodriguez who makes the catch, gets past the 40. They'll mark her down at the 42-yard line, makes it third and manageable.
She was able to get past Abby Miller, but Bella LeBlanc was there to make the tackle. Gotta think this is 4-down territory for Fitchburg Red. Just 8 yards between them and a fresh set.
Got 2 shots if they want it. They find Shamari Rodriguez, but now she runs backwards to try to get more yardage, but is not able to evade the grasp. They will give her to the 46, half the yards required.
Came back to bite Fitchburg in a big way early in this contest, and it was a 4th down conversion that was taken away because the receiver ran back past midfield. That time they lost a few more yards.
Need 4 on this one, or they give the ball back to Ayer-Shirley, but it looks like Pena wants to go for it all, or has to go for it all. But her pass is well out of reach of any Raider. Closest ones, I think, were wearing the pennies. Now Ayer-Shirley in prime position. They'll have the ball 20 yards from goal.
And that time, Dan, Ayer-Shirley brought no rush at all. They knew it was 4th down. They knew that Fitchburg had to go to the air. They put all 5 back in coverage. 5 defenders, 4 receivers. Advantage to the defense. And now the Panthers, they might not be able to burn the whole 4 minutes. But they can certainly take their time running these 3 plays.
You know, they're not going to be in a rush to get to the goal line, or get to the line of scrimmage is what I want to say. First and goal for Ayer-Shirley. It'll be a run. We'll go to the right. It'll be Hefner. He's able to get a couple of yards on that.
Leilani and Gracia stepping up immediately to grab the flag and make the tackle. And obviously, Dan, at this point, Ayer-Shirley gets in the end zone. That's ball game. There just isn't time at that point.
Can't see it. You know, they're going to work off as much of the play clock as they can. It's 25 seconds. Here's second down. Figueroa rolls over the middle. Intercepted! Shamari Rodriguez comes away with that!
There was contact at the point where the ball would have hit the receiver's hands. It was batted up in the air, and Shamari Rodriguez had 3 chances at it before she was able to bring it down, make the pick. And now this is very crucial for Fitchburg. They're on their side. They have more chances to go downfield.
They have plenty of chances, but now Pena is actually going to run out of time. Did not release the ball before 7 seconds expires. The ball imaginarily falls into the turf incomplete.
And because they're inside 5 yards before the first down line, they have to go to the air. And again, Ayer-Shirley is sending everybody back. They have 5 defenders against the 4 Fitchburg receivers. Officials have actually spotted the ball in Panther territory, which is wrong, but they've got it back now on the correct 48-yard line.
So here's second down and 1 to go. That one goes incomplete. Now, of course, the Raiders at some point do have to get themselves a first down. They can work the clock here. There's about 2 minutes to go. You know, they have 2 downs to get a yard, basically. And then from there, 3 downs to get as many yards as they need to get to the end zone. Now they'll take the first down from Rodriguez. That's just to reset the box, not have to worry about things after that.
took a couple shots downfield and then got the quick pass for the first down. Now 3 plays to get 20 yards and 6 points to tie this game up.
Pena rolls to the right, flag doesn't fall, throw to the left, incomplete. Looking for Melendez, battling there with Holden.
Lee Melendez against Aaliyah B. Holden is a defensive, it's a size mismatch in favor of Holden. She's got a couple inches at least. Fitchburg hurries back to the line.
They know they have no time to waste. Second down. Throw over the middle. Battled for. And caught by Palmer at the 30.
And I think this is Ayer-Shirley taking their timeout. They want to give their defense a chance to recover.
First catch of this contest for Maeve Palmer. And now you've got the ball game right here. One play, 5 yards. If the Raiders score, they'll have a conversion attempt to win. If they don't score here, Ayer-Shirley will win.
It's basically a conversion for the tie. They're at the 30-yard line. They need 5 yards. If you're Anthony Oquendo, you go to your best 1-point conversion play right here.
Go run, guys. Go run, second down.
You can hear the coach on the near sideline shouting, no run, no run. They're in that 5-yard zone. They cannot go to the ground. Ayer-Shirley knows that. It's a very limited space to defend.
Pena, over the middle, caught! And Gracia! Touchdown, Red Raiders!
We said it early in the broadcast, Dan, those 1-point conversion plays are so difficult to defend. Your offense only needs 5 yards. You can run just a quick little turnaround hook. 15.5 feet downfield is all you need. That's all Fitchburg got. Now if they do it again, they're going to win this thing.
These two teams are combined 0 for 5 on conversions.
Football is fun. Has anyone ever said that?
It's nothing but conversions now. It's a throw to the left, off the fingertips of Gracia, and incomplete.
The play design was perfect. They were able to get Gracia open with an inch of space. The pass just a little bit behind her. Gracia tried to turn around and reach behind herself to make the catch, but it fell incomplete. And we have reached the end of regulation, tied at 18. We are going to overtime.
So we're going to go to overtime, and assuming my interpretation is correct, how it works, each team will get to choose. Do they want to go for 1 or do they want to go for 2? They'll get 1 shot at a conversion. Whoever has the most points at the end of that is the winner. If not, each team will get 1 shot at a 2-point conversion. Whoever gets the most points after that is the winner. If not, each team will get 1 play from scrimmage from their own 5-yard line. Whoever gains the most yards wins. That is my interpretation of the NFL girls flag football rulebook.
Which is the one that we're using here.
Yeah.
Because this whole thing, we're not exactly playing secrets about that, is the brainchild and the idea and the thing that we are trying to make a thing of the New England Patriots Foundation.
Indeed.
And they play in the NFL. In case you hadn't heard, if you're watching flag football on FATV and you haven't heard of the New England Patriots and the NFL, welcome. We're happy to have you here. That's it. Welcome. Thank you for watching FATV. Keep doing it.
I know there have been a couple of modifications that that this league has made to the rulebook. So a couple of things have been a little different. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but I know there have been a couple of things where I was thinking, you may remember last year, the first game, trying to feel things out and how they do things, and then talking with Jack Reed the following week. It's like, no, actually, that doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
So.
It is, again, as we said in our conversation with Todd Robbins between games, it is very much the Wild West. Ayer-Shirley will come out and go for 1.
So here is their attempt at 1 point. We saw they were 0 for 3 in regulation. Figueroa with the snap. Gets the throw off, knocked down, incomplete. They appeal for a flag. I don't see it given there.
The officials, for the most part, have kept their flags in their pockets. They've only come out for one very obvious false start and a couple of unsporting demonstrations. Now Fitchburg, having made the stop, one play, 1 point, 1 win.
That's how it would be. Ayer-Shirley's won 4 in a row. They're only lost to a very strong Wachusett team in the very first game of this season. Ayer-Shirley needs a stop if they want their winning streak to continue. Pena, shovel pass to Rodriguez, a little bit of a collision, and she is stopped before the goal line. The conversion is no good.
You call it a little bit of a collision. I would say it was more of a hip check, but it was an effective tackle nonetheless.
I think the flag got grabbed too and all of that.
That was part of it.
So that is the end of the first overtime. We have no winner, so now we will have double overtime. John, I will give you play-by-play for double overtime.
Works for me. So we back up to the 35-yard line. Teams now will try a 2-point conversion. They could, if they wanted to, run the ball here. Would be a choice, to say the least. Aaliyah Figueroa will go from the shotgun. Ayer-Shirley going first. Fake the handoff. Figueroa rolls left, pumps, throws back across her body. Jump ball in the end zone. It is intercepted. Picked off by Fitchburg. Returned the other way by Shamari Rodriguez, and her flag is pulled. 2 points there would have ended this as a contest, but again, Ayer-Shirley now 0 for 5 on conversion attempts. Fitchburg has another chance to win it.
And there was even more contact. So many players colliding, going for that ball.
As this game has gone on, as it has stayed tight and gotten later and later, the players on the field know that the refs are keeping the flags in the pockets. Now Fitchburg, 2-point conversion attempt. Pena's pass is short, incomplete. Never even got to the end zone. Great defensive pressure applied by Angie Tracy. Pena unable to deliver the ball. And that completes overtime number 2. We will go to OT 3, which, despite what you may have heard on the internet, is simply the third internet. That's all.
So now things get a little weird, as we mentioned. So they've spotted the ball at the 5-yard line. Ayer-Shirley, as established, will go first, and they will run a play from scrimmage from the 5-yard line. And they have to get as many yards as they can. And they set a benchmark. Fitchburg will then get a similar shot from their own 5-yard line, and whoever gets the most yards wins. And if we have 2 incompletions, then I guess we do it again.
That seems reasonable to me. Now, I would think for Ayer-Shirley, you need to do a play similar to the one that got you your last touchdown. A short pass to one of your great athletes and just let her run.
Figueroa is sacked.
They tried a play action, and then Figueroa wanted to wheel around and hit a wheel route, but busting into the backfield is Serena Vu. Dan, am I correct that Fitchburg could just snap the ball and spike it and win?
I did. So that's very interesting. So that's obviously -2 for Ayer-Shirley.
One would assume.
And so my thought is, if I had the ball first in this situation, I do a running play here because I'm just trying to get positive yardage so that if you force an incompletion from the other team, you win.
That is certainly a way to do it. And you saw Ayer-Shirley went play action trying to maybe play off of that mindset.
Yep. Now, I'm not sure if a sack counts as a minus yardage or they just call it 0 for the purposes of this.
And that may be the conversation that the officials are having with CJ Lemieux on the sideline right now, trying to establish exactly what benchmark does Fitchburg need to beat here.
Yeah, because I imagine, as you said, yes, hypothetically with the sack, that Fitchburg could just spike the ball and win outright because their 0 beats -2.
And I can see arguments on both sides, right? Because obviously it's kind of a dumb way to end a football game, honestly, spiking a football and winning. On the other hand, our defense held you to -2 yards. What do you want, bud? But no, if you're Fitchburg, just hand it off. Get a yard here. Anthony Aquendo is like, again, take 10 big steps back, my guy. Get off the field.
And that's basically what they do. They move the ball over the line of scrimmage and say, yeah, we're establishing our benchmark as 0 yards. Tell me that's more than the sack. Did they properly explain the same situation to Coach Aquendo? Did they tell him that we're counting that as... I don't really know what's going on. Organized Calvin ball at times. The Wild West was a very good way of putting it. They may be saying, you know what, no, seriously, we're going to call that 0 and you're going to do with this again, or I don't know what the... Or do they want to say, okay, we're doing quadruple overtime? I'm really confused right now. Again, I don't think, how many times do the coaches ever have to get to this point of a game where they're in triple overtime and it's most yards win? Oh, and the first play from scrimmage was a sack, so it's minus yardage. What does that count as? And obviously, both Anthony Aquendo and John Lemieux are very confused as to how this should be counted.
Fitchburg's athletic director, Todd Robbins, is out at the 15-yard line trying to figure out what's going on here.
Is the game over? What exactly is the circumstances here?
Ayer-Shirley is clapping. Fitchburg is heading back to their sideline. Now Todd Robbins is going to come in and get an explanation. So Fitchburg took the snap from under center. And my understanding is if you take a snap under center, your quarterback can run with the ball. Is that correct?
If you take the snap under center. So they're going to now do handshakes here.
I think we have to assume that Fitchburg has won, right?
Or what if they called that 2 yards and then move the quarterback illegally running the ball as a half the distance penalty turns into -2.5? I'm very confused. You know what? The weird thing is the game has ended and we don't actually know who just won.
That is a very salient point.
So now I have to hope. Did I actually try to save the girls' flag football rule book? I don't think I ended up doing that, or at least I didn't put it in there. Now I have to look at my phone to see if I can find it, because I don't want to sign off before I tell you who actually won this game.
I have done an investigative journalism, by which I mean I've texted Todd Robbins and asked him who won. The problem is Todd Robbins is down at the 25-yard line having a discussion with the officials and Coach C.J. Lemieux. So, at this point, we're just reading tea leaves. Neither team is exceedingly celebratory. So, you would think that I have an official response from Mr. Robbins, and this is a quote, "I'm working on that." According to Todd, the score is 19-18 in favor of Ayer-Shirley.
So the winner of whoever gets the most points in the conversion thing gets a point. And again, my guess is what they're trying to say in the end was that they ruled that, there was the sack, a loss of 2 yards. They may rule that because Biapena effectively advanced the ball beyond the line of scrimmage as a quarterback not eligible to run, she basically becomes an ineligible player downfield, and they call a penalty of half the distance, and that's -2.5. -2.5 is less than the -2 that Ayer-Shirley got, and they therefore may be claiming Ayer-Shirley has won the game on that.
That is a logical possibility for how we would get to what I have been told is the final score. Again, for those who have kind of been dealing with this as we've been going through this end of game situation, I've reached out to Todd Robbins, the athletic director of Fitchburg Public Schools, and he is telling me that the final score is 19-18 in favor of Ayer-Shirley, which would indicate that your hypothesized scenario, Dan, is correct. I don't have confirmation that that is what happened, but I do have word from Mr. Robbins. Again, the final score, 19-18 in favor of Ayer-Shirley. And at this point, folks, unfortunately, that's all we can tell.
I'm going to now read the exact rule book as written. So the team starting from the third overtime, each team will get 1 play from the 5-yard line going off in the end zone. Team with the most yards will be the winner. Team with the most yards will be awarded 1 point added to their final score.
Mm-hmm.
And all regulation period rules and penalties are in effect. And from there, it's just It does not say anything about how many yards a sack counts as.
So, a question then for you. Under normal conditions, if a quarterback takes a snap from under center and simply runs forward with the ball, that is illegal, correct?
Yes, the person
illegal.
The person who first receives the football cannot advance past the line of scrimmage.
So in an instance such as first down from your own 5-yard line, your quarterback takes the snap and advances the ball. That then is an offensive penalty, which would be assessed half the distance to the goal, which is a loss of 2.5 yards, which is a greater loss than the loss incurred by Ayer-Shirley on their sack. Everything I've said to this point is at least theoretically accurate. Is that correct?
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Folks, I wish we had something more definitive to tell you. Obviously, we've said it a few times. It is the Wild West. It is a league still in its infancy. These finer edge cases are things that may well be being hammered out in front of our very eyes. And unfortunately, it gets a little messy sometimes. At this point, I think the best we can tell you is that Ayer-Shirley has won this game by a final score of 19-18. We think we know why, but we don't know that for sure.
Those are the circumstances that we think it is, and obviously this is something that should be informed. The NFL should be informed about such a circumstance and try to better clarify the rule book in this particular case. Perhaps it was also misinterpreted in the sense, like, what does that count at? Looking at the rule book, it does not say what a sack counts as in terms of that. Obviously, they were not thinking about what happens if the team that goes first loses yardage.
I would think, and this is, again, as a layperson who has no real interest other than talking into a microphone and trying to make sense of things, I would think the obvious interpretation is you lost 2 yards. Your score of yardage is -2. And then it is incumbent on Fitchburg. I have to say, Dan, Fitchburg coaching staff did not cover themselves in glory in this game, because it is not exactly a secret that if your quarterback takes a snap under center and advances the ball, that's against the rules. So I have to ask, why? Why do that?
In that particular case, if you're telling the player, if you're telling Villapena to do something in that particular circumstance to not lose yardage in that particular case, the thing that she should have been told to do, as you exactly said, based on the interpretation that we believe the rules are, she should have just thrown the ball straight into the ground.
Throw it straight into the ground, hand it to someone who is next to you. There's no rule against having a quarterback be under center with another player directly to that quarterback's right, correct?
Correct.
You could have your quarterback take a snap from under center, hand it to another player, who then takes a step forward and drops to a knee. That would be completely legal, am I correct?
I believe so.
I have to say, and I don't want to be overly critical, because I am very much a guy from Springfield who drove in for this game, and I am going to go back to Springfield. I am not going to live with this decision for the rest of my life or nothing. Fitchburg coaching staff bungled this.
They called the absolute wrong play in that circumstance, or had Villapena do the exact wrong thing to do in that particular moment. And I guess it also came down to, we believe that sack was a loss of 2 yards.
And again, you're correct, Dan. We should clarify this, and I want to make perfectly clear, everything I'm saying here is operating under the assumption that our interpretation is correct. That Ayer-Shirley was penalized or lost 2 yards and essentially got a quote-unquote score of -2. And all Fitchburg had to do was get a score of 0. If that's the way it is, which we think it is, it's a very confusing situation, folks. And again, I wish we could have a little more clarity for you. We're going to follow up. We're going to do the best we can. But
at the end of the day, I guess officially the final score is Ayer-Shirley 19, Fitchburg Red 18 in triple overtime. But it doesn't feel like this was the best and fairest result in a sense. But it's all very weird and unusual.
And again,
these are circumstances that, as we said, how many times have these coaches ever actually coached a team in triple overtime?
It's learning experiences for everyone, and that's a very fair statement as well. And really, the controversy, if you will, at the end of the game kind of puts a pall over what was a very entertaining, very good, very well defensively played back and forth contest. This was a good, tight game, and you know what I want more than anything, Dan? I want to see this again. Let's play this again. Let's play it in Gillette, maybe. Let's play it for a championship in Gillette. Wouldn't that be fun? Let's do that.
So this was the last session at Crocker Field in this regular season. There will be, I believe, Central Mass Championships to come, and how that will exactly be held and where exactly that will be held and when exactly that will be held is to be determined down the line. But we will try to be there for that and bring that coverage to you whenever it happens.
And for now, we want to thank, obviously, Travis Falk did a tremendous job for us running the camera tonight, providing all the sights and sounds. For Dan Bolak, I'm John Gugerty. Again, the final score for the final time, Ayer-Shirley 19, Fitchburg Red 18. We will see you next time, I suppose, right here on FATV.